Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we try to zero in on the insights that really matter, just for you. Today, we're diving headfirst into the huge buzz around Suzanne Collins' Sunrise on the Reaping, the big Hunger Games prequel. This thing isn't just, selling well. It's a phenomenon. Over 1.5 million copies just in the first week. That's
rowdy.
Well, that's massive.
Right.
Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission. Figure out why it hit so hard, what new stuff it brings to Panem, and why everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here isn't just the numbers, though they are impressive. It's the reaction. You see people online and book clubs everywhere, just, crying, cheering, arguing about it. It's intense. It shows Collins really tapped back into something powerful. So our deep dive today, it's about giving you the key takeaways, the emotional core, the context, without you having to wade through all the noise online. We want to see what makes it genuinely add something,
Absolutely. And a lot of that reaction, I think, comes down to the story itself. So let's get you up to speed real quick. No major spoilers, promise. It's a direct prequel, right? Takes us way back to the 50th Hunger Games. And that wasn't just any games, was it? It was the second quarter quell, which means the Capitol basically dialed up the horror. New rules, bigger spectacle, designed to be extra cruel. And the focus is on someone we know well, someone we think we know, a young Haymitch Abernathy, before he became Katniss's mentor.
Exactly. And it's not just like filling in plot points we heard about. It's a deep exploration into his backstory, his struggles as this young kid thrown into it, and how those specific games, the second quarter quell, just broke him, really, how it made him the person we meet later. What's crucial, I think, is how it changes your view of the whole series. Knowing the twist of that double the tributes, an arena designed to be pure nightmare fuel. It makes Haymitch's cynicism later, his protectiveness over Katniss. It's not just him being difficult, it suddenly feels heartbreakingly logical. You see why he's so damaged. It reframes everything he does in the original books.
Yeah.
His sarcasm, the drinking, the trauma, you see where it all started. It adds this huge weight.
Yeah, that context is massive. And here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Because Suzanne Collins, she's brilliant at weaving in these complex themes, right? Mm-hmm. And this book is no different. I mean, she's always been sharp on politics and propaganda in Panem. But how does this prequel push that even further? Does it add new layers to that critique?
Oh, definitely. That's a great point. She always shows how power works, how the media shapes things. But this book, through the lens of that specific quell, it gets into some really insidious details. It shows the Capitol not just using force, but twisting history, twisting memory. Like the whole idea of the quell itself doubling the tributes, they spin it as some kind of celebration, a reminder. It's a performance of cruelty, making it seem grand, necessary to keep control. The book really peels back how they feed the districts these manipulated stories about their own past, turning defiance into just another warning. It shows the machinery of control in stark detail, beyond just the games themselves.
Wow. Yeah, she deepens the critique. Okay, and we connect this to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Beyond the politics, the book goes hard on the human cost, right?
Yeah.
Themes like trauma, survival, sacrifice, even love somehow, and all that horror. People are saying it's raw and heartbreaking. Lots of reports of readers, crying multiple times. How does she land that emotional punch so effectively? Is it just the plot or something about the writing itself?
Good question. It's definitely how she tells it too. It's not just what happens. She really puts you inside Haymitch's head, lots of internal monologue. And it's bleak, very raw. You feel his cynicism starting to form. You really get inside his unraveling psyche, I guess. And the writing style, especially in the arena, it gets faster, more breathless. It mirrors the panic, the desperation. It feels really visceral, almost claustrophobic sometimes, which is maybe a bit different from Katniss's more strategic narration, It forces you, the reader, to confront these impossible choices he's making. That's why it feels so powerful, so relevant, so properly raw journey.
So clearly it worked for a lot of people. Did they connect with it?
Oh, yeah.
The fan reaction's been huge. Like on Goodreads, over 60% gave it 5 stars. That's really high, especially for a prequel with so much expectation. And on Reddit, someone summed up the feeling perfectly. They said, let me find it. Yeah, I'm wrecked. I haven't sobbed this much since Allegiant. Comparing it to Allegiant, that tells you how hard it hit emotionally. Yeah, right in the core.
Right. But, to give the full picture, there were some criticisms too. It wasn't universal praise exactly. A few folks noted that maybe the story felt a little too similar structurally to the first Hunger Games. The tribute journey, the arena dynamics, and some felt perhaps certain character arcs, maybe supporting characters, could have been a bit stronger, a bit more fleshed out, which, are fair points. It's always tough balancing expectations with a massive fan base like this. Hard to innovate completely within that world.
Yeah. valid points for sure. Important to mention. But it really seems like, for most people, the sheer emotional power of Haymitch's story just kind of swept those issues aside. True, the structure might echo, but looking at the overall reaction, the consensus seems to be that the emotional depth outweighed the flaws for most readers. Just experiencing his ordeal, understanding him. It seemed to be so compelling that minor issues didn't matter as much to the majority. It really cemented his place as a significant addition. Shows Collins still has that connection with her audience. It carved out its own space, I think.
Absolutely, and that massive reaction, it says something important, doesn't it, about why Hunger Games sticks around. It's not just the action. It's the human stories underneath, how they connect to bigger societal stuff. The fact that this prequel, years later, sparks this much emotion and debate. It shows how strong those original foundations were. It almost feels like we're just continuing a conversation we started over a decade ago about power, survival, resilience.
So what does this all mean then for us, for the Hunger Games legacy? This isn't just like a cash-in prequel to fill a gap. It feels more important than that. It's a powerful reminder of why this series is more than just dystopian action. It's really stayed true to the core themes, hasn't it? And still feels incredibly relevant. Feels less like an add-on, more like a necessary piece of the whole structure.
I agree. It underscores that the whole series, including this book, is fundamentally about society, survival, and, well, humanity itself. By showing you Haymitch's origin, the absolute horror he went through, the choices, the sacrifices, how unlikely his survival even was, you understand his pain and bitterness in the original series with so much more empathy. Suddenly, his mentoring, his alcoholism, his harshness, they aren't just character traits, they're scars. Deep, deep scars from that trauma. And that actually enriches the whole story Collins built. You might even reread Katniss's story differently now. Seeing the generational trauma, the weight he carried that she then inherited in a way. You see the echoes, it connects their fights across time.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, it's pretty clear Sunrise on the Reaping is way more than just another book. It's emotional, thrilling, and connects, well, tragically, but beautifully, back to the world Collins built. It adds this really vital, poignant layer. Gave fans something maybe they didn't even know they needed. Hopefully this chat gave you a bit of a shortcut to understanding its impact and maybe whether it's a journey you want to take. The reaction alone speaks volumes.
And this raises an important question, I think, for all of us fans. One that always comes up with prequels or sequels to beloved stories. Do you think this prequel was truly necessary? Or should Collins maybe have left the original trilogy as it was, let Haymitch's past stay a bit more mysterious? There are good arguments both ways, right? Does filling in the blanks make it richer? Or does it maybe take away some of the original's power for some people? That ambiguity, it's definitely a thought-provoking thing to chew on. About legacy, storytelling, what fans want versus what a story needs. Something to think about after we finish up here.
That's a great question, Ed. Really makes you think. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Sunrise on the Reaping. Hope you found these nuggets of knowledge useful and feel ready to engage with this whole phenomenon.